Evening all, time to do a little bit of honing. This evening in fact, what I'd like to do is to try and copy a great hero of mine, Caleb McCullough, who did a wonderful honing video only yesterday on his Laloon and the process involved. So I managed to get through the post today, this little beauty. This is almost untouched with a very ragged edge, but almost untouched mapping and web. I've never had a mapping and web, I've always wanted one. Anyway, it's taped, ready to go. I'm just about to flat off my stones. This one is a King Deluxe 1000 grit. Just make sure it's nice and flat. Yep, that's flat. Lots and lots of residual. It looks like brick dust. I hope it's not. So yeah, that's the 1000 King. So I need an edge setter. I need to bevel set. I'm also going to then use, straight afterwards, my 3000 Nanoir Professional. And again, very quickly, chaps, let's make sure that one is reasonably flat. The pencil lines, as you can see, are almost gone. So it was virtually flat to start with, but it's just a hobby. But I like to get it right. Yeah, they're all gone. We'll call that flat. Again, I shall wash off the diamond plate, because I don't want to contaminate other stones, especially not with the coarse grit like 3000 or this fella, the 1000. So that's that. One Sharpie, which we shall now apply a line. I've already tested its geometry. I have to say the geometry was pretty spot on, so haven't got to worry too much about warps or any other nasty things. So if the geometry is right, just a matter now of giving it a quick bevel set. Oh, this is coarse. This is why, of course, I tend on a fairly nice condition razor like this one. In fact, this is very nice condition, to tape it. If need be, I'll add more tape if this starts to wear through. But that's going well. This had a terrible edge. I think somebody had perhaps I don't know, a collector, market trader, whoever had it last. They may have tried to rub the blade a little too hard with some wet and dry. And I think, I'm absolutely certain, that it deformed very slightly, the edge. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, that's okay. Nice and even. However, what I'm going to do now is kill the edge. The coarse. Yep, that's dead. Because it was a little bit ragged. So let's do just a few more. And once I'm fairly happy, I'll go onto a finer stone and then I'll go onto the Lune, because I haven't got the confidence to go straight onto a Laloon after a 1K stone, because this will be pretty rough. However, let's see if I can also take a bit of tissue, try and get rid of the Sharpie, being careful not to amputate a finger at the same time. Yep, that's getting rid of the Sharpie nicely. I only did it out of habit, doesn't really need it. I was certain the edge was okay. Let's have a quick check with my trusty little loop. I only use a 40 magnification loop with a little LED. Oh yeah. Oh, that's nice. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Good. So, next stage. I think we can get rid, carefully wash off. You can see there is steel, quite a bit of steel on the stone. So we know it's done a bit of cutting. I'm going to assume, without going into great microscopic detail, I'm going to assume that the edge is now nice and reasonably even. But as I say, I'm slightly lacking the confidence to go straight onto a slurried Laloon. For the simple reason I've only ever done one Laloon before, and it was quite successful. I'd like to compare how this Laloon, when I finally get to shave with it, compares to other similar natural stones. When I say similar, you can't really compare, can you? I just want to get the worst of the scratch pattern from the 1K removed. And I think already you can just see the colour has changed. I always use slurry, even on this beautiful quality 3000 grit, because the slurry is a very good way of getting rid of steel quickly. And already that's changed colour. So I imagine we're almost at a point where we could say it's good. Oh, limey. Yeah, that's spot on. Always do the nail test. It should really, really grab, and it doesn't on the very nose. Look at that. Oh, it does on the heel. Heel, middle, perfect. No, bit more off the nose. Give it a little bit of an angle. This is one of the joys with a little bit of thought. You can get a test like the nail test to work very, very efficiently. Now I'm going to say, judging by the colour of the swarf, that that's pretty good. Let's see on the old nail. Yeah, that's got it. Maybe just a touch more. That's why I wanted to get my roughing work done on 1000 and then a 3000, because I haven't really got the experience on the Laloon, which will be the next stone up. Yeah, that's good. You can perhaps just see that I'm doing sort of X strokes. I rather like the pattern that X strokes leave on an edge. If you look underneath your microscope or your loupe, you actually get zigzags going one way and zigzags going the other. So when you go to a finer grit, you can see what's been removed. Oh, oh, oh yeah. That is grippy as heck. It's a nice shiny looking bevel. But I will give it one last check before going on to the Laloon. Let's just have a look. I've got to say, it does look from here very even. I'm only using the little 40 Lune, loop. Yeah. Very nice. I'm happy. Right, time to get rid of the big beastie stones. Here's my little microscope. I don't think I'll need that. Let's just wash off the swarf, rubble and detritus from this lovely 3000. I've got to say, everybody says it, but the 3000 is a lovely stone, a 3000 professional. It doesn't clog. It's a little beauty. Right, let's get rid of these bits and pieces. And now, let's see if I can work up a a modest slurry. There's the Laloon case, rather posh, and there is the actual Laloon stone. It actually says on it Laloon. So let's see if we can work up a modest. I'm not going to go for an absolutely hugely massive amount of stuff on here. Yeah, I always found last time I used this Laloon, it was actually quite difficult to see the depth of the slurry. But look, not bad, is it? It does work up nice and quickly. This stone was owned by the wonderful Gary, and I'm extremely lucky to get any stones or any equipment from Gary, because he really do know what he's doing. Well, I'm going to call that a fairly heavy slurry, as you can see, or I hope you can see. I think that's reasonably heavy. So in theory, that should get rid of the last marks. Yeah, that feels to me like it's cutting beautifully. If I can probably misquote Caleb, let's move the mud from one end of the stone to the other. As yet, the feedback on it isn't great. It just feels like a nice medium coarse stone, but it should give me that wonderful mistiness that we all crave. I'm hoping. I'm not worried too much about obtaining any sort of nasty feathered edge, for the simple reason I always work into the stone, as you can see. I'm not very keen on drawing back away, because that I believe will give me probably a little bit of a wire edge. So let's continue avoiding a wire edge. I've absolutely no idea how many laps one would need on this small stone to remove the preceding stone, which is the 3000 nanoir. But I'm going to say not that many, because I can feel this is cutting beautifully. Yeah, that's definitely cutting well. However, if we have a look very quickly with the loop, and then maybe with the microscope, and that way we can tell. That's a lovely little razor. I'm very pleased I got this. As you can probably see, it's an extremely deep hollow. Its overall condition is very, very good. So this is a keeper. Right. A quick look this time under a proper little microscope. This little fella. See what we can see, if anything. Oh, that's interesting. Ooh, oh, I'm most impressed. That's a beautiful hazy edge. Very even. Golly gosh. But I will kill it nevertheless, because I'm bitter and twisted, so I'm going to kill it on the edge of the stone. Like that. Yep, that's completely dead. I'm going to use the existing slurry. I'm going to bring the edge back. Again, doing the same strokes. Sorry to be boring. Once the edge is back, I'll go to a finer slurry and then a very fine slurry and call it a day. Very pretty stone actually. It's got a browny purpley colour to it. It's not a stone that absorbs very much water, but I'll give it a little bit of a spray just to thin out a little bit the slurry. With being a very ultra hollow grind, I can actually not only feel the pressure that I'm applying, I can actually hear it too. It's a lovely even sound. Now I wonder if that's enough to have brought the edge back. Let's hope so. Yeah. Ah. Yes in the middle? No. No at the nose. Edge leading, but rotary strokes, which is one of my favourites. I don't think this would produce, at this stage, a wire edge. Oh look, there's a little different piece of colour in that stone. Look at that. Just like a little blood spot. So proving it's a very natural stone. Yeah, that should probably have done it. Yeah, that's back. Back with a vengeance. Good. And I'll wash this slurry off. I don't want to contaminate the next process, which is hopefully, looking at the surface of this stone, it would appear that it doesn't absorb any naughty things. You don't want it absorbing the swarf off the steel. You certainly don't want it doing that. So here we go, let's do a very fine slurry now. This will just be a lighter slurry, following in the footsteps of Caleb. Yep. I would call that a medium to light slurry. Wouldn't you guys? Medium to light? Yeah. Caleb was making happy analogies to southern types. No, he wasn't. Hang on, let me just get this right. Yes, he was. Yeah, of gravy. This is not really a very heavy gravy. This is what I would call a very light gravy. This is a dietary gravy and not a heavy gravy. Let's see. I've got to say, one of the things that was rather pleasing was it's not changing colour. So I think I'm taking very, very, very little now. But what made me so happy was just now looking under the scope, I've got a most beautiful crazed pattern. When you see that slightly grit blasted or sand blasted effect, you know that you're doing it right. You know you've got a natural stone. Yeah. Quick test. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hee ha ha. Maybe a little tiny bit more there. Let me sacrifice the baby tomato. I'm being very gentle. I would say a little bit more. So let's do a little bit more. It should schleish, and it wasn't. So the nail test, which I like, isn't as good, in my opinion, or is only an ancillary test compared with the baby tomato. Because the baby tomato never lies. Yep. I hope this is not too light a slurry. because I want it to cut. Otherwise my little tomato won't be sacrificed. We can't have that. I would think that would do it. Yeah, feels good. Come here, tomato. There's a slight reticence there. It's trying to cut. It's not cutting enough. So I haven't brought the edge back after all. Naughty me. So a little bit more slurry. Martin's test shaves. Strikes again. I hope I'm not boring you to death, chaps. All we needed was a little bit more slurry, just to bring back that edge to being fully fierce. I think that's enough. I think that's a decent gravy, to misquote Caleb. This won't take long. And if it does, it's worth it. So we've got a wonderful razor. I've heard very good things spoken of these. I've always heard that the Mappin & Webb is like a sort of a bit of an elite razor. Certainly got a good name. And if other people rate the make, who am I to knock it? So this is my first Mappin & Webb. I hope it won't be my last. It's a very nice quality razor. Right. Let's see if I brought the edge back. Probably. It feels so draggy. Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yippee. Haha. We have success. Poor little tomato. Little bit more on the nose, but apart from that, that is slicing. I don't know how well I'm doing this. I'm looking at, trying to look at the phone and at my tomato. Do you know what? I've just eaten it. Right. In which case, let's just thin out this slurry. Little drop of water. And the next stage after this, we'll be taking it to a decent quality, well, I say decent quality. I'm going to use my Kaneyama strop because it's so reliable. I'm not sure if you should change strops according to the stone method you've used. I don't think it's going to make a lot of difference. Oh, blimey. Yeah, that feels very sharp. Let's just get rid of the slurry altogether. Zero slurry, few strokes, and we're done. The one thing I would say is, although the tape is actually causing it now to stick quite a lot, I'm not getting the feedback on the edge, so I can't say whether the edge is truly sticky. I think without the tape I'll probably get a better feel, but I'm going to call that a day. As far as I'm concerned, that's very good. Yep, one more tomato. I'm very cruel with tomatoes, do forgive me. Poor little tomato. Yeah. Oh, notice it. No, it's good. Tastes good. One of the things you have to watch with tomatoes is one, they get harder skins as they get older. These baby tomatoes are at least a week old, and as they dehydrate, naturally their skin becomes tough. So there I was knocking it, saying, "Ooh, it's not cutting ideally," but it really was. Can you hear there's a slight noise? Slightly different tone. Anyway, I think it's too easy to overhone. Let's do a few X strokes. I'm going to check under the mic and call that a day. Where's my tissues gone? Oh, that'll do. Microscopes are fibbers. They're not always that reliable. You get all sorts of problems with microscopes, I've found. Better than now, you've got to use them. Right, let's have one last check. That is a gorgeous looking edge. Yeah, that'll do nicely. Okay, chaps. So after I've finished with this, I'll probably now shave tomorrow morning and I'll do a YouTube video. So there we have it. There is a Laloon. Wash off any traces of slurry. And we'll see what the result is. I got a feeling it's going to be good, because this is a nice little stone. The coticle that I have used is a comparable stone, but I found the coticle, the results are a little bit unpredictable. I think the Laloon gives a more predictable result. This hasn't got the same little inclusions, the horrible hard garnets and things. So I'm assuming that this will be a more reliable edge. We'll find out. That can go back in a little box. I'm going to go upstairs now, and I am going to strop this little devil and make sure that it hanging hair tests for the morning. Thanks guys, I hope you find this vaguely amusing, vaguely useful. This was a Laloon test, and this was a Mappin & Webb 6/8 razor, and this is Martin's shave test. Bye for now.